Jonathan sat at his workbench, tinkering with the next iteration of the Face Melter 5000, as sparks flew off exposed wires. Trying to force open a panel with a screwdriver, he managed to pry it open, but not before the screwdriver he used to pry it open snagged a loose wire, breaking it. That wire wasn't for anything important, right? Probably not. Jonathan shrugged to himself as he went back to fiddle with the jumble of wiring and the electronics in the drone. Well, that is until the drone he was working on started beeping, a red LED flashing from within, giving it an ominous glow. Well, that's not normal. He barely had the time to slap one of his palms over his eyes before the drone exploded non-violently. Well, as non-violently as an explosion could be. Peeling his palm off his face, he tentatively opened one of his eyes, only to be greeted by the sight of a newly made pile of scrap in front of him. That's unfortunate, he thought to himself, as he gave the broken drone a few experimental pokes with his screwdriver. He stared wide-eyed at the pile in front of him, mulling over the rapid unintentional disassembly of the drone, and how he could improve the patent-pending Face Melter 5000 in the future. He nearly lost himself in his thoughts before one of his colleagues, Florb, waltzed through the door. "You and Jonathan, are you in here? One of the toilets in Block C is Whatever words were about to come out of Floor's mouth died in her throat, a choked sound resembling a muffled laugh escaping. Instead, as Jonathan stared at her owlishly, the imprint of her hand where his eyes were acting as an island in the sea of black that his face was. "Are you busy right now?" she said, mirth evident in her shaking voice, as she tried not to burst out into a fit of laughter. "Not anymore. My poor baby decided to go rogue and self-destruct, but that's in the past." He swiped an arm across the workbench, sending the remains of the drone to the floor. "What do you need me for?" "Oh, that's right. One of the toilets is blocked and the plungers aren't working, so I thought maybe you could," she asked, pointing a tentacle outside. "Oh, that's it? Give me a second." Opening one of the drawers in his workbench, he pulled out a red sphere with a piece of string sticking out of it and a lighter, before following her out. "All right, lead me to it." "So, human, what have you got in your hands?" she said as they walked. He gave her a non-committal shrug. "The solution." Florb decided not to think too hard about Jonathan's ominous answer, as she continued to lead him to their destination. It wasn't long after that when they finally reached the bastardly toilet in question, the murky water in the bowl slightly too high to be normal. "Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what in the fuck did you guys do to this thing?" Jonathan said, pinching his nose as they stared into the brown abyss. "Truthfully, I don't really know. All I know is I saw friend Kyla stumble out of here mumbling something about a Mexican food." Jonathan could only give her a solemn nod, giving the poor soul a quick prayer in his head. Poor bastard, he didn't deserve that. "He did seem a bit pale. Hopefully they're okay now." They'll be feeling it for a while, unfortunately," he said, giving her a comforting pat on the back before he took out the ball and lighter. "Guess it's time to fix this. I really hope this is a good toilet bowl." Lighting the string on fire, he tossed the red ball into the water as he slammed the toilet lid down, sitting on top of it before quickly putting Florb into his lap, eliciting an eep from her as he slammed his palms over her ears. "What in the seven hells are you doing?" Florb asked wearily. "Cherry bomb." "Cherry what?" She only received a devious grin as an answer to her question, before the muffled crack of thunder flooded the bathroom, Jonathan letting out a whoop of joy as the lid rumbled beneath him. Florb, on the other hand, could only squeal in surprise, as she and Jonathan became unwilling participants in the impromptu testing of Newton's third law. The force of the explosion forced the blockage clear, but not before also sending Florb and Jonathan flying a foot or so into the air, careening into the far end of the bathroom. They slammed right into the wall, both of them letting out a subdued oof as they sit down, quickly becoming acquainted with the cold tiling on the floor. Jonathan, being the human that he was the first one on their feet as he approached the toilet, the lid still somehow closed despite all that just happened. He opened the lid of the toilet, Florb only seeing him snort in laughter as a wisp of smoke left the toilet bowl. Curiously, she scrambled onto her feet so she could see the disaster that unfolded. Peeking over Jonathan's shoulder, she was only met with the cleanest toilet bowl she'd seen in her life. Apparently, whatever sorcery was in that red ball had blasted the toilet shiny and empty, the murky water nowhere to be seen. What the fuck? Jonathan could only laugh in amusement at Floor's reaction. Well, I'll be damned, this is a good toilet. Reaching over, he gave the toilet an experimental flush, a smile forming on his face as he saw fresh water refill the bowl. "All fixed. Another day, another problem solved," he said triumphantly, giving the now slack-jawed Florb a pat on the back as he left the toilet. "If you need something solved, you know where to find me." Even after he was long gone, she was still frozen on the spot, an owlish look painted on her face as she stared at the now sparkling toilet. "What the fuck?"